Okay, it's today. It's release day. I did it. So I wanted to put together a giant vlog of all the clips that I could find of my journey from writing The Severed and the Hunted all the way until today, which is publication day. And going through all this footage, what it made me realize more than anything, and I know I say this all the time on my channel, but this community, I know we're a tiny part of the YouTube universe, but it has literally meant the world to me these last 6 years. Oh my gosh, has it been that long? Yes. It's just the support and the friendships, and I can't be any more grateful. So I thought this would be really fun to put together the entire journey. Now, I'm gonna have to sort of narrate through it because if I just put all the clips together, it might not make sense. So some of the clips I kind of have to set up a little bit. It all started on April Camp NaNoWriMo 2019. So we've come full circle, exactly 4 years later. I am publishing, and I was in Boerne, Texas because Stefan and I were on a cross-country road trip, and I was visiting the amazing Kate Kavanaugh, and I was on my way to see her when I realized that I did not want to be working on the project I said I was going to be working on. Shocker. Kilkeo Peak, my dragon fantasy that, you know, I'm still working on. But I decided to go for a shiny new idea, and that was The Severed and the Hunted. So this is where our journey begins in Boerne, Texas. So I do have this other idea that I'm excited about that is more of a alternate reality but on Earth kind of thing. I'm feeling more confident about that one. So that's probably what I'm going to work on. So this Camp NaNoWriMo, even though I have Untitled Fantasy as my thing, I'm counting all my words. Hi, bud. Hi. Look how sweet you are.
6 plus 241.
Oh, and I didn't...
547.
Nice. I didn't change the color like I said I was going to.
Oh, did you not see? You don't know where you're...
I don't know.
Also trying to pace myself. Like this time, I think I've doubled the word count for the day, and I just...
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's great.
I'm really excited about because I did end up putting the fantasy on hold. I sat down and started to outline the other book series that had been kind of percolating in the back of my mind. And holy crap, did it take a completely opposite turn of where it started. I actually have to throw out the two chapters that I'd already written for it because I had the world, I had the characters, I had no story, I had no plot. And I realized I needed to focus on a plot because the world is cool, but you know, there's only so much a cool world can get you if you don't have a plot and you don't have anything compelling enough for people to follow along. So I came up with a plot. It ended up changing all the characters completely. They're totally different characters now. I mean, their core is the same, but what they do, who they work for, all those things have changed entirely. So I'm super excited. I'm about halfway outlined. I mean, this is a basic outline. This is not one of my normal, like, insano outlines. I'm just doing a, like, 1 sentence or 2 per chapter kind of outline. So it's almost going to be pantsing-ish, but at least I will have everything plotted out. So there won't, you know, there might be some surprises here and there, but I'm sure there will. But as for now, anyway, I think I have it all in my head, and I know what I'm going to do, and I'm really excited.
Also, I didn't have a title. It wasn't even Hexsphere yet. I didn't even have that word yet. It was a very embarrassing title that I didn't want to tell anybody because I was afraid that it would get stuck in their heads forever, and it would always be called that for all of time. And there was also, in the book, I call people who are immune to magic discons, and they also had a different title, and it is so embarrassing. And only Kate and Stefan know those two titles. But I'm going to assume that they've both forgotten. At least I'm hoping that they've both forgotten, because I will never ever tell. Hi! So we're in one of Kate's favorite cafes, and we're going to do some writing today. Actually, she's going to help me brainstorm, hopefully. All the responsibility, because normally my husband is the one who helps me with titles, but I gotta tell you, he's failing on this one. Big time. Big fail. No, I told him I would never ever tell them. Ever. I do not want that get stuck in their heads, and they'll always refer to it as that.
That's a good point.
So when I come up with it, even if it's just a working title,
that's when you'll reveal.
Yeah. Yes.
Gotcha.
All right. And we jump from April to June. Apparently I didn't vlog about writing The Severed and the Hunted, but you will see from this next clip, this was one of those oh god no moments that writers have. I had another revelation, which was awesome, but also, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate, really, I want to say upsetting. Basically what happened is that I had already written the first three or four chapters actually. So I had a total of about, I guess, 12,000 words. Each chapter is about 3,000 to 4,000 words long. So I had, you know, about 12,000 words written, and I was happy with them. And then I was on the fourth chapter, and I don't know if this has ever happened to you guys before, but my character started speaking to me through the chapter, basically telling me that there's no way I would do any of the things you're making me do. Oh, I stopped. And I was like, she's right. She would never get into that fan. She'd never trust them. She'd never stick around the crime scene. Once she knew that she was discovered for who she was, she'd run. She'd have to. There would be no other choice. So, I had to delete almost 9,000 words. And it was painful. I mean, I didn't delete them. I put them in a old chapter file and kept them away from things, just in case I can pull things later on from the stuff that I liked. But basically I deleted 9,000 words, and yes, my story is going to be a gajillion times better for it. My character is so happy now. She's like, thank you. But I had to delete 9,000 words. So I was on chapter 4, almost on chapter 5. I am now on just starting chapter 2. Everyone's vlogging, so I'm vlogging too.
Comments too. If you're vlogging today, feel free to get out your vlogging camera, because all of us are doing it.
Yay, we're all vlogging. Doing Jessica's live ride-in at the airport. Cause yay! At least I can get some Camp Nano done while I'm waiting. Forever. I won! I won! I actually won on the live ride-in, and everyone's saying congrats. I have to do it like this because I have my headset in. But yay! Okay, I actually have to make my flight right now. Big time jump. It was 7 months went by that I didn't even work on The Severed and the Hunted. So it just goes to show you that sometimes you take giant breaks in between projects, which is why this took 4 years. Because I would go big chunks of time where I wouldn't write in it. I had so many variations. Like, it started out where she was in her early 30s and she was a cop, and the world has always stayed the same. that part of it because it is an alternate Earth, and I had the whole world down. That I was the most excited about. I know you're not supposed to be. It's supposed to be about the story first. But because the world came first and the story didn't is why I was struggling. So I didn't, the character stops talking to me. I wasn't feeling it. It wasn't right. She wasn't the right age. She wasn't, I just wasn't feeling it. So I put it aside and started working on Kilkeo Peak for a while. And then I started realizing, okay, she needs to be in high school. So I switched it to that. And that was fine for a while. And I was thinking, I'm gonna crank out draft 1. This is great. But chapter 4, on both drafts, by the way, chapter 4 stuck. Like, it just wasn't right. So anyway, I went through a lot of soul searching, got a lot of great advice. Thank you, Jessica Williamson. It finally clicked. I finally figured it out. So it's going to be 2 points of view. The problem was I was so focused on this one character being the main character that I was kind of ignoring that there was this other character that needed to be a part of the story. It was half a story. And once I finally was able to just listen to my instincts and let that go, it all fell into place. I've been working on this outline for months, trying to figure it out, trying to figure out the story, trying to figure out the characters, trying to figure out all these things. And once it clicked that it was 2 girls, 2 points of view, I wrote the outline in 2 days. It just, because all of that information was back here and I was ignoring it because I kept thinking, no, I don't want to do 2 POVs. I don't think it's right. And I just ignored it because there'd be more work and I don't know, and I don't know if it's and the outline, and I'll have to re-outline everything, and I've already re-outlined this thing. You know, that's the voice you're not supposed to listen to. Because by listening to that voice, I ended up working a lot more than I did when I finally gave into my instincts, and then it took 2 days to outline the entire novel. So it ended up being far less work if I would have just listened to my instincts. Before you watch this clip, for those of you who have read the book, you know that the 2 main characters are Ella and Ren. And I keep calling Ren Rin in this clip. And it may be really annoying because you're thinking, wait, her name is Ren. And I was getting annoyed. I was like, why do I keep calling her Rin? And then I realized her name was Rin back when I started. But then because I always talk about Brandon Sanderson on this channel, and one of his biggest characters in the Mistborn series is Vin, that I thought, oh my god, people are going to think that I named Rin after Vin. So I changed it to Ren, W-R-E-N, and I did that in homage to the 2 amazing kids that are in their 30s now that I used to nanny. That's their last name, Ren. So Ren is Ren. So don't get too annoyed when I keep calling her Rin. Working on Hexsphere, and I don't know if this happens to you guys, but okay, I'm working on the new chapters with Rin. That's the new POV. Ella was the original, Rin is the new girl. She's not new, but she's actually getting her own chapters now. She's half the story. I had everything outlined, and everything's still outlined. Everything's fine, nothing's changed. I've got the character arcs, I've got the story arcs, I've got all the arcs, everything's good to go. But there's a character that was in Ella's chapters, the original 4 chapters, as sort of just, I don't know, I didn't know if I was going to use her for anything. I just had her be one of those characters that sort of raises her hand and is scared of Ella because of something that happened at the beginning of the book. But suddenly, she's like won't leave Rin, the second character, alone. I was writing Rin's first chapter, and then Moira just comes up and she's just like, hey, she's super nice. Anyway, she just came up again. I'm not planning this, even though I have this thing outlined. I am not planning this. So obviously Moira
is going to be playing a bigger role than I thought. She was just sort of a side character that, I don't know. I don't even know. I just sort of needed a body. You know, one of those kind of characters that you don't even know if you're going to cut them eventually. They're like that unimportant. And now she's actually she's just nudging her way into this story. Little Moira. I'm going with it. This is where, even though I outline like crazy, and I think all writers are like this to a certain degree, outline like crazy, but you still have a certain level of pantsing, because I was not expecting little Moira to come up and be Rin's friend. Rin doesn't have friends, so Moira is nice, but she's a little bit annoyed that she keeps coming up to her. So it's this weird, I'm going to be a rebel this year, and what does that mean for me? I think I'm still going to try and reach the 50K, but I don't have to because I'm a rebel. But I'm working on my book, Hexsphere. I was between Hexsphere and Cacao Peak, and honestly, it's only because Cacao Peak has a lot more to go. They're both exactly halfway done. That's the weird part. But Cacao Peak is a fantasy novel, so it's gonna be huge. So halfway through is 70K with 70K to go. Whereas with Hexsphere, halfway through is around 40-50K with another 40-50K to go. So I'm thinking Hexsphere is going to be about the size of my Riser books, somewhere in the 100,000 word range. So I feel like that's doable. I could actually finish a draft during NaNoWriMo.
Spoiler alert, I did not finish the Severed and the Hunted draft in NaNoWriMo. And that was because that was the election year when Biden won the presidency. And if you all remember, our country was in a state of chaos, and I got really overwhelmed, and I just did not feel like writing anything, to be honest. And I was actually working on my super secret project at the time, which was Geraldine's Alley, where I was writing, beta, marketing, all the things to publication in 90 days. So I just focused on that, and I didn't do any writing in the Severed and the Hunted. Since Geraldine's Alley came out in January, I did those November, December, January, and I think probably a couple months after, I didn't work on the Severed and the Hunted. It wasn't until, shocker, April Camp NaNoWriMo that I started working on the Severed and the Hunted again.
NaNoWriMo, I need to finish my draft of Hexsphere. I know I've been talking about this for 2 years now, but this is the month, this April. It's going to happen.
Hey, Becca C. Smith here, and welcome to day 2 of Camp NaNoWriMo. Yesterday was good, but I did not finish the chapter. I do want to finish the chapter and maybe even finish the second chapter. I don't know. I am having trouble today. I feel like everything I'm writing is boring, and he's more exciting at this point. It's not that I don't like the idea of Hexsphere. I do, obviously. I've been working on it for a couple of years, but something always kind of holds me back from it. And normally I would say that's because procrastination, I'm stalling, I should just sit down and write it, all the usual. But I've actually finished other books since then, so it's not just procrastination. There is something mentally holding me back from finishing, and I don't know what it is. And when I'm writing it, I'm actually having a really good time. I actually really enjoying it. I love the story. I love the characters. So I don't know what's holding me back. And this has happened to me in the past. And then later it comes to me, some huge revelation of the plot or something to do with the characters. And then I'm like, oh my God, thank God I waited. But I'm at that point where it's been 2 years and I feel like that revelation should have come already if it was going to come. But
You know, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it takes like 10 years. I don't know. See, I don't know. My brain's all over the place. Does this ever happen to you guys? I think my first 1 hour sprint today is going to be Hexsphere. I was feeling it. It's that chapter that I never finished. I'm going to finish the chapter today. I know it. And I may even move on to the next chapter. I'm not sure. Again, I'm going with the flow, and I'm just figuring it out as I go. If I feel like still working on Hexsphere, I'll do that. If I want to switch over to Kilkeo Peak, I will do that too. Yeah, and I similarly, I'm in Act 3, but I have about 5 chapters left. So I am close, but definitely not close enough that I could finish today. I mean, yeah, I could if I went insane and, whatever, but I had started out the week doing 2 chapters a day, and there were things that came, like kind of like what you were saying, like stuff that comes up that you're like, no, that's not a good transition. And I didn't want to rush it because, we were talking about it before the stream, that my first nano was Dream Diaries, and that book took me longer than any other book I've done to edit, because I just, did the 30 days. I needed to finish a draft. I didn't care if I had issues. I just plowed through them. And it really ended up costing me in the editing process. So I've just decided in life, I don't like doing that. I like to have cleaner drafts. I actually, last week, I think right after our stream, I finally finished my first draft of Hexsphere. Yay! So I've taken a break, and so I took a week to just not think about it and to, normally I take like a month, but there's enough that I know I need to thread through, that kind of thing, that I'm just gonna dive in today. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm just making a list of the the kind of the notes I made along the way. The reason why I'm doing this is the book that I just finished the rough draft of, Hexsphere. I realized that I needed to change from first person present tense to third person past tense limited. 85,000 words. That's a lot, and I was kind of dragging my heels a little bit last week. I did a chapter a day. If I do that, it's gonna take way too long before I can actually get to the edits. This is just changing the POV tense. I want to dive deep and get into the core edits that I know I need to do. So I figured a 12-hour edit-a-thon will at least get me, I have 31 more chapters to go, so I probably won't finish even in the 12 hours. But if I can get a big chunk done, I know I can finish the rest of this week. I am finally tackling draft 4 of Hexsphere. This is going to be my main goal. I've had enough time to plan and percolate based on my 2 CP's notes from way back in, I think it was July or August. It's been a while since I've looked at the thing, which I think can be a good thing, because now that the changes have fully solidified in my brain, hopefully that means threading those elements through will be smooth sailing, says every writer ever. And today I am doing a vlog on taking all my beta feedback and trying to incorporate it into Hexsphere. Now, of course, I'm not going to be able to do it all in one day. And there are a couple people that have emailed me and said that they're going to be giving me the beta feedback later this week. So obviously I'll still have to go through that. But I've gotten enough. I've gotten like 5 people have gotten back to me. So I'm really excited to dig in and address all of these notes. They've all been fantastic, really rang true. You know how it is when you get certain notes and you're like, oh Yeah. And then what's interesting is how some people interpreted certain things, which made me realize I wasn't clear in how I described it or how I presented it. So that's also good, you know, just even having people ask questions or I can tell that they interpret it differently makes me realize that, okay, I need to fix that up so that doesn't happen again. But just sitting here kind of sorting through my fabric, I did think of some cool scenes. I'm really starting to feel this, these first 15 chapters. I'm going to be putting more of the trackers, you know, just more juicy stuff. And that way we can kind of see more of the world building, but also more of the characters. I have to think of it more as a screenplay than a book right now. Just it's helping my brain because you can't do inner thoughts in a TV show or a movie unless you're doing narration, and that's obviously not what I want. So how would I convey the same points if I could only do it through action or dialogue? And that's actually really helping me come up with some really fun moments, scenes that I think will be really cool and really beef up and make the first 15 chapters a lot more compelling. I have to get through 3 chapters today, and one of these chapters I'm actually adding an entire scene, which is fine, but yeah, it's a lot of thread through. I'm threading through a lot, so I better get to it. What I'm working on is the covers. I think I've come up with 3 or 4 different covers. The most recent one I think I'm going with, but then I just came up with an idea to do a different cover. I usually don't have this much trouble with covers. I usually have like a vision or an idea of what I want, and then either hire somebody or do it myself. I thought that it would take me days to finish, but through lots of tutorials and this guy right here and his expertise, I was able to do the cover. I still want to do some tweaking, but this is it. I finally found the one. I officially love this one. So this is the cover. Yay! Okay, so starting tomorrow, I will get back to editing so I can actually have a book to put this cover on. Starting on a Monday, so I feel like I'm gonna get a lot more done this week. I keep adding new stuff in a good way. Nothing like structural or anything like that. That all is fine. It's just like details and introducing characters earlier than I did in the first draft and hinting at things and just making it a lot more fun and juicy and like, ooh, and I don't know. I'm just having a good time, so I feel like, you know. So I'm taking a break. I did the first half of the chapter. I just have to do the second. But I don't know what I'm struggling. I have to write a new scene. It's a romance scene, you know, I don't know. I guess that's the point. I don't know. I want to have a cute romance scene, but I don't know exactly what I want to happen. Part of me wants to skip it and just move on to the next chapter, but I don't know. I'm a completionist, and then it'll bug me that I'll know that I haven't finished it. So I think I'm gonna go back in and just write something, because I can always edit it later. It's better, but it's a lot. 1 chapter at a time though, so I'm just gonna focus on this one today and maybe get into the next one. Okay, I gotta get back to the scene, but see my potential. I see my potential. I'm going to be the moose. It's 9:00 p.m. I was kind of like giving up for the day. I didn't finish the chapter, and then I started Jess's stream,
And I did the first sprint, and then I was on a roll, so then I ended up muting it. Sorry, Jess. She would understand though. And it's so hour and a half. I finished the chapter. It was a doozy. It was a lot. It's a lot, man. I got really, really overwhelmed and frustrated today because it's a lot more thread through than I anticipated. Not finished that scene that I was talking about on Friday. I am 3/4 of the way done though. So I almost said I better finish today, but I'm trying not to use negative words. So try to stay in the positive. That is my theme for this week, is staying positive. Whether I finish or not, I will be happy with whatever the outcome, because I will be further along than I was right now. But I did do 2 chapters yesterday, and there was a lot. Each chapter probably took about 2 or 3 hours each, so it was a good solid 6 hours of work, which, you know, when you're editing is a lot of brain power. So I was pretty tired. I'm thinking the next couple chapters are not as intense in terms of editing, so maybe I can even get through 3 today. Place is a disaster. You can see it, I don't care. 2 chapters down, 2 to go. It's 2 o'clock. I am on Jules, the Dawdling Writers stream, as you can see. She just started a 30-minute sprint, and I'm hoping the last 2 chapters are short. I might actually be able to finish both chapters in this 30-minute sprint. It is going way, obviously way faster because, yeah, I'm not rewriting all of it. All right, I'm gonna start so that I can potentially at least finish 1. I'm pretty sure I can finish 1 because they're pretty short. And maybe 2? Okay, Snake, what do we have to say? I finished! I did it though, I finished! And then I should be getting some notes back today from betas. I'm still waiting on 3 beta readers, and I'm going to at least open my Hexsphere document today. I did do well. I went through all of my notes. I got notes back from 2 of my betas yesterday, so that was awesome. Awesome suggestions. I'm going to use every single one of them. Just really good, catching things that I missed, and I mean, some were like, oops. And that's exactly what I need, right? Because it's always those little details sometimes that we just miss because we've read it so many times. And then the rest of the day, I'm hoping I can finally dive into the Severed and the Hunted edits. I've gotten pretty much all my feedback. There's only one person that I haven't got feedback from, but she's going through it right now, so I totally get it. I'm just gonna go through the 3 notes that I got back now. I'm excited. It's exactly what I needed from all 3, and what was cool is that they all had different kind of notes and suggestions, but I agreed with all of them. So it's nothing huge or anything. It's just things that, like, strengthening the world building or answering questions that popped up, things like that. And then with my last beta, hopefully, you know, maybe she'll find something new even, or maybe not, and it's the same that they said, and then it's even better because editing is so hard. But soon after that clip, I sent the book over to Enchanted Ink Publishing, where they did the copy edits. And then after I did that, I made the proof, and I went over the proof probably like 3 times, and here we are! Release day and my 50th birthday! So I hope you guys enjoyed watching that super mega vlog from the very beginning all the way to here. I did it! It's out into the world. But thank you guys so much for watching and for being a part of this journey from whenever you decided to join, from the very beginning or even just yesterday. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.